Oh! 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 Mm-hmm. What's up, team? How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for joining me again on this weekly live stream. I really appreciate each and every one of you's company. Feeling a little bit under the weather today, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to go the whole time, but I've selected a couple tracks that I would like to roast. Once again, I've been pulling these tracks from my sick-ass Discord. Shout out to all the staff on the Discord. Bean, Faunalist, Alex, Connix, Alv. Am I missing anyone? Yeah, all you guys are great, and everybody who's participating in the Discord and roasting each other's tracks and helping each other, it warms my sweet heart, and I love seeing the community there foster, grow. Also, shout out to my r/WeSuckAtProducing subreddit. Found a couple of really great tracks there this week. Once again, really appreciate the community. Buy some medicine, Big Po. You're such a sweetheart. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. Oh, thank you guys so much. Big Po, shout out to you. Big Po, if you'd like to, I don't know, if you'd like me to roast your track or whatever, or, give you a tap on the wrist, be happy to do so. It means the world to me. Cool. All right. Lee Lurch says, "Am I on the spectrum? Take off your shirt." Yeah, I don't know. Probably. Anyways, so here we have Ellie Derp with Memories is going to be our first track that we're going to be roasting today. A couple of other updates I got. Here, I'll be right back. I got this motherfucking bad boy. Ho ho, motherfuckers! APC 40. Yeah, this is my first new acquirement of a MIDI controller in probably like 5 or 6 years. I'm very excited to incorporate it into my live setup. I heard really great things. And yeah, if you guys have any tips about using the APC 40 MK2, would really appreciate it. Anyways, here we have Ellie Derp with Memories. Let's take a listen. Oh, the volumes are good. Let me turn it up slightly. Brother Ellie Derp with Memories. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. Warms even my cold, dead, decrepit heart. Wow, give yourself a tap on the wrist. That was great. As far as the arrangement, sound design, song structure, all that's freaking dope. The only thing I noticed was, and this is something that's way more noticeable in monitors rather than headphones, so please, if you can, invest in a pair of monitors or speakers, because that fucking snare, it's too damn quiet. It's too damn quiet, man. You turn that shit up. Probably the kick as well. It's just the kind of super sauce synths are just too far in the foreground for the kick and snare to really punch through. This is probably a symptom of probably cranking the limiter on the master too hard, or maybe doing something crazy with ozone, I'm not sure. But we really want to make sure those drums punch through. And also, check this out. This is just an idea. When you have the drop happen the second time around, and you're kind of doing a syncopated triplet feel with the LFO wobbles, whereas the sub basically stays completely solid throughout. It doesn't vary along with the LFOs. It doesn't wub along with it. And I think if you really wanted to emphasize that syncopated feel, maybe have the sub do the wub as well. You feel me? Sub wubs, really effective for creating some interesting rhythmic syncopation, especially towards the second drop. You know, just have that fucking go on with it. But yeah, other than that, very excellent work, man. You just got to work on that mix, bro. And let me ask you guys this: when you're done with the arrangement stage, everything in your song is completely structured. All the sound design is done. All the creative musical aspects have been completed. Do you guys bounce every single one of your MIDI tracks to audio and just start a completely new session, mixing purely the audio stems? Because I've recently just discovered that approach, and I found that if you're having trouble kind of saying goodbye to the arrangement of your song and just committing to it completely, that might be the best approach for you, because it forces you to be like, okay, I'm about to jump off the cliff here. I'm about to bounce everything to audio. There's no looking back. And then you could solely focus on the mix down, not worry about any of the creative aspects or being able to tweak anything because everything's locked in stone already. So, I don't know. Some people find that approach to be completely extreme because it forces them to redo their entire mix from scratch. because usually you would just normalize all the audio. But let me just show you guys what I mean here. Let me just open up Ableton real quick. Never actually done this approach myself, but basically what you would do is, let me just open up a project here. Ba 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 ba, ya ba ba, da 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 da. So we would just open up the project here. Let's see what track I'm working on. Basically, what you would do is after every single aspect of your track has been completed from a creative perspective, you would just go back into Ableton real quick. Once it fucking loads, fucking fat bastard. And then basically, when you start to export your track, what you would do is instead of exporting, holy shit. Instead of exporting the master like you would do regularly, so just Command Shift R, instead of hitting render track for the master, you would actually just do all individual tracks, or maybe even selected tracks only, and hit normalize so that all your tracks are as loud as possible. Completely throws off all your levels. That's the point. It forces you to redo your mix from scratch. A lot of people find that they actually find stuff that was previously buried in the mix. When they normalize the audio, since everything starts off from a level playing field, they're able to rediscover things about their song that were just completely buried in the kind of creative arrangement phase. And also, pro tip, always turn dither options to no dither when you're doing this. You really only want a little bit of dither when you are exporting just a fully mastered balanced track. So if you're ever sending your stuff off to a mastering engineer, please turn the dither options to no dither. You don't want any of that dither and shit, bro. So basically, yeah, that's it. Let me know if you guys like that approach or not. Let's move on to the next track. By the way, you guys fuck with Andrew Huang? I watched his saying goodbye to YouTube video where he describes how he works like 10 or 18-hour days just to make YouTube videos. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Give yourself a tap on the wrist. That's crazy. I could only dream of that work ethic. And then he's like, yeah, I've been working 10, 18-hour days. It's really starting to affect my health. So I'm going to take a break for 2 weeks. That's it. It's like, what the fuck, man? Give yourself 2 years. Shit. Anyways, so here's Majo Hanamo with Mouths Full. Let's take a listen. Oh shit. Yo, that was Mouths Full with Majo Hanamo. Definitely pronouncing that wrong, but dude, fucking sick track. Super chill, housey vibe. I noticed that you did improve the mix from last time. Good on you. I would say that while the kick is improved, still feels a bit too loud in the mix. I'm not sure if this is a pre-master, in which case I would probably put a multi-band, maybe like at 15% on the master. If you're really going for that super modern sleek pop sound, I guess the OTT is your best friend. But instead of putting it on the master at say 100%, something I've found to be pretty effective is just going to your audio effects, pulling up the multiband OTT, putting it down to like, I don't know, maybe like 15%, 10, 15%, just a touch. It just kind of squeezes everything together in a really extreme way. But if you just introduce just a little bit of that in your mix, it can really make the whole thing sound glossier, super sleek and modern. Just my 2 cents. Other than that, in terms of arrangement, sound design, vibe, super dope track, man. I fucks with it. Cool. On to the next one, brothers and sisters. Speaking of brothers and sisters, I'm noticing that there aren't a whole lot of female producers out there, and I'm curious as to why this is the case. So, if there are any female producers watching, please let me know what the sitch is, and if there's anything I could do to kind of help. I don't know. I don't know if this is even a problem. Really, I'm just curious as to why there's such a huge disparity in terms of gender between male and female producers. I can only really name like maybe 10 female producers off the top of my head. So yeah, I don't know. Is that a worthwhile discussion? Who knows? Cool. Let's move on to the next one. Here we have Time's Up with Kuzmo. This one's fucking weird, man. Let's take a listen. Here we have Kuzmo with Time's Up.
Operator will make you.
Oh shit! That was Time's Up by Kuzmo. Kuzmo, give yourself another tap on the wrist. I'll give you a fucking repost. That shit was awesome, man. Super reminiscent of Tsuruda, Mr. Carmack, another producer by the name of Woolly Mammoth, who recently dropped his full length on Alpha Pup. Shout out Woolly Mammoth. Shout out Alpha Pup Records. Shout out Daddy Kev on the mastering. Amazing record. Reminds me a lot of your stuff, and vice versa. Super weird, experimental, kind of West Coast hip hop inspired, Eat Prom-esque synth odyssey excursion. Really love Woolly Mammoth stuff. Really love your stuff. If you haven't checked out his album, Filling Spots, highly recommend you do. It's fucking amazing. Why isn't it pulling up? Weird. Anyways, only real critique I have of this is that very last section. It's not quite clear what's going on there. It sounds like it's leading into the next song, in which case, definitely develop that. You know, I kind of agree with this ski person. Super vibey. Maybe make the transition between, I guess, your main section of the track into the new section or the new song or what have you a little bit more elegant, because it's a super great idea. I think you could very well be the basis of a fuller body of work, but let's just take a listen back to that transition. I'm just curious. So this is kind of like the main, okay, let's just, so that's the main riff, right? We break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down. Yeah, this album fucking amazing. Check it out, bro. Really great. Break it down, break it down, break it down. You're not even necessarily sure you need these 8 bars here. You could easily transition from this section right here into just the breakdown there. And then building up, you do some crazy, okay. So I mean, it's a little random with the beat repeat, to be fair. I guess that's kind of the point. But I'm just curious if there's a more elegant way of transitioning between your main section idea here into this new one right here, because both are great. I'm just curious as to how you would present this in a fuller body of work, because I think you should totally do that. Anyways, Kuzmo, Time's Up. That was fucking sick, bro. Thank you guys for sending all this stuff. Let's switch it up. Let's do some Roy G. Biv with Lark Minch. Something a little chill vibes, bro. Oh shit, that was Roy G. Biv by Lark Minch. Super groovy, delicate, funky Odyssey. Overall, really fuck with the vibe, super chill. I'm wondering if you could push the activity levels and the drum programming specifically. So for example, in this kind of central section right here, you have that main super fat snare. Are you varying up the velocity there? I mean, it feels like you are very slightly, but the thing is that that snare is just so in your fucking face that repeating it that many times over and over again in quick succession feels a bit much. So maybe, it sounds like the snare is composed of multiple layers. Maybe for some of the ancillary hits, like ba, you could either take out one of the layers or maybe increase the amount of velocity sensitivity there. It just feels like the snare isn't really dynamic enough to warrant being hit so many times. You feel me, brother? And then towards the end, so you're fully embracing kind of the trap, but with that still that kind of that shaker swing. I don't know. It feels like you could push the energy more. Maybe in addition to the shaker swing, you could do like maybe a more traditional trap stuttering hi-hat pattern. It just feels like, this is kind of the last big hurrah of your track. And I'm wondering if you could push it more just by adding more percussive elements or something like that. Because it just feels a little bit empty. I don't know. Yeah, I'm struggling to figure out exactly what it needs there, but it just feels like something is missing. Could be an extra percussive element, could be another maybe more brash in your face super saw synth or something like that. Even just some fucking wiggity wiggity scratching up in this bitch. But I don't know, something feels missing there. Other than that though, the vibe you've already built is a super solid foundation. I'm just curious what it'd be like if you just pushed it a little bit harder. But thank you for sending that in, Lark. Very good. Let's move on to the next one. Let's do a Chris Brown remix. Now, personally, I don't approve of Chris Brown, but music can be good. Let's check out the Payto 8 bootleg remix of Excuse Me Miss by Chris Brown. Let's hear it.
Tell me, fellas, have you seen her? It was about 5 minutes ago when I seen the hottest chick that a youngin' never seen before. I say, yo, the girls I wanna meet her. On second thought, that ain't the way to go. I gotta give her game proper, spit it so she get it. She is, I gotta stop her. Or should I talk about a smile? Or what about a style? I'm out of time, she's out the door, I gotta go for mine. I think I'll say yeah. I don't know your name, but excuse me, miss. Oh yeah. Across the room. And I gotta admit that you got my attention. You're making me want to say yeah. I know you're trying to leave, but excuse me, miss. I see the last dance for you. I would love to keep you here with me, you baby. Now so they grab hold of my hand and let's pretend the flow was ours. You say you don't really dance. Don't worry about it, we just 1, 2 step, 1, 2 step. Now with the music is moving too fast, grab my hand a little tighter. Don't be afraid to move a little closer. Girl, there's something about you that makes me wanna say so romantic. Baby, I can be in your heart. So many things I wanna tell you. I think that I should start by saying, oh yeah. I gotta give her game proper. Spin it so she get it. She is, I gotta stop her. Oh yeah. Tryna leave, me miss. I see the last dance for you. I would love to keep you here with me, you baby. Everybody just clap your hands like this. Just clap your hands like this. And if your shorty's in the house tonight, just grab her by the hand. Homie, make her understand y'all was made to dance like this. Y'all was made to bounce like this. Let her know she was made for you, and you wanna do everything she want to, man.
Oh, excuse me, miss, by Chris Brown. We got the Pato 8 bootleg remix. Super solid foundation here, Pato 8. But here's the thing, I wish you could push it a little bit harder. You know, just like the last track, you've developed a super solid vibe now, but where do you go from there? You know, it feels like the ending of the track in terms of arrangement is exactly the same as the beginning. Feels like we didn't learn anything kind of this middle section here. So let's just take a listen back to the middle section, chorus. First off, personally, I think that the 808 ringing out like that is less effective. I think the 808 will actually feel like it's punching through more if it eventually gets quiet in between the individual hits. If it's just going, ringing out, decaying, releasing the whole time, it doesn't sound nearly as impactful when it comes back in. So it's just like a constant. And then here's the thing. So you got the hi-hat on, what is that, every eighth note? Or no, quarter note even. Is there something more interesting that we could do rhythmically? Maybe have another hi-hat going at an eighth note speed, or maybe just doing like full-on trap, crazy skittering hi-hat type shit. There's a lot you could do to develop that section and really make it more distinct from the rest of the track. And then also maybe what you could do is take one of the elements that you develop in this section, this chorus here, and have it continue on towards the end of the track so it feels like we learned something from the chorus and we're better people because of it, unlike Chris Brown. So definitely consider seeing what you could do, just pushing this a little bit further. And I'm not sure what your music theory knowledge is like either, but this whole track is composed of just 2 chords. Maybe that isn't enough. Maybe you could have a bridge section with a completely different chord progression. Or maybe outro on a different chord progression. I love doing that personally. Because it implies that there's something more that we're not seeing. So yeah, definitely consider those options. But what you got here is a super solid foundation, bro. I want to see you grow. Cool. Is that it? Do I have more? I guess I didn't have that much this week. Handy Jandy, always good. Let's take a listen to that. My boy Handy. Oh shit. Bro, talk about perk came stroganoff, dude. Those perks were crazy, man. Some of the most unique drum programming I've heard in the context of trap in quite a long while, Handy Jandy. Very good work. In terms of the hi-hats, the perks, the combination of the two, all that was super on point. Definitely the strongest part of the track, and I think something that some of our previous roastees could learn from. Now, in terms of the efficient trimming, it actually feels more like some inefficient clipping, my friend. Okay, you got this bush, you're completely flatlining it with your tractor here, and I'm not sure if that's the best course of action here because sometimes the clipping is dope, but other times it feels a bit too much. To each his own. If you have a tractor that size, I sure don't. I only use Serato, and yeah, I guess it's up to you, really. But in terms of, I guess, just the length, I mean, it doesn't really, the track really only does one thing throughout. So perhaps Handy could make his rap debut over this, who knows? Other than that, some of the most unique, interesting drum programming I've heard in a trap beat quite a long while. Shout out Handy Jandy. Thank you for sending that in. All right. Like I said, I think I'm just going to end this a little bit early. Drink some more coffee. Maybe take a nap. I don't know how you guys feel about those. But once again, thank you guys for coming in. Really appreciate every single one of you joining me. With regards to sending me private links to your music via Discord, try not to do that. Instead of sending a private message to me with your track, please submit it to the Roasts channel on the Discord so that you can get roasted. But first off, before you ever submit anything to the roast, please be sure to roast somebody else first. Give some feedback to somebody who's already posted, and then after that, everybody else will be happy to oblige back to you on your shit song. So try not to send me private links. Please just try and interact with the community here. It's good people, I promise. Ditto with music production, our music production. Found some great shit on here this week. So keep posting there as well. Keep roasting each other there. And just to give you a sneak preview of what's going on next week, I'm doing a sponsored video, my very first sponsored video. I'm selling out professionally by DistroKid. DistroKid is an awesome service. Yeah, they reached out to me. I'm going to do a video for them. It's going to be sick. Yeah, in the future, in terms of sponsored shit, I'm never going to sponsor anything I don't personally use or a service that I don't fuck with. Yeah, DistroKid is great. Just letting you know, I'm a sellout. Yeah, that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I love all of you. Shout out to all the staff once again on the Discord. Shout out to everybody participating and watching. Yeah, shout out to whoever donated and gave me medicine via the chat. I really appreciate that as well. But yeah, anyways, you guys are great. Peace out.